Generation Next, Generation Next, Generation Next. Oh my god, we're gonna talk on next gen today. Holy fuck. Also, yeah, I'm kind of on time this month, dude. I'm currently uploading. Actually, oh no, not yet. I'm uploading like the last sort of couple, fucking, like, videos, quote unquote, that I didn't do as videos. I only had them as audio files. So I'm, like, the last 7 fucking videos that I was supposed to do, I'm uploading. Well, yeah, most of them already uploaded, but those are gonna be on fucking Patreon tomorrow. This is gonna be on Patreon probably also tomorrow. We'll see. Along with another video. Yeah, so we're gonna be on time. That's cool. I have an essay due in like a couple days, and I have notes for it, but like I basically have not written anything properly. So that's bad, but we'll figure it out. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. I just had hot chocolate. I'm sad that I don't have hot chocolate anymore, but I'm not gonna drink more because it's bad for you. Oh god, my desk is kind of dusty. Had fucking sushi today. That was great. Yeah, and like had fucking yakisoba and all this stuff. Great shit. Good shit. Yeah, today we're gonna talk about next gen, like I already said. Because we're in a place now where we can, I think, analyze it pretty succinctly. Not succinctly. That's not the word I'm looking for. Pretty... in a very comprehensive way, yeah. Because Sony had their big showcase recently, right? And then Microsoft had already revealed their details a couple days or weeks or whatever before that. Actually, wait. When did they reveal the price? I don't remember. When the Series S was revealed? It's fucking complicated. Anyway. I think with the PS5 especially, there was just a lot of question marks. And there still kinda is. Like, there's still a little bit unclear about backwards compatibility. See, I keep checking this thread on Reset Era, Take a Shot, where, yeah, you know, where they discuss the backwards compatibility on the PS5 for PS4 games, obviously. And see, the reason me and a lot of other people are still kind of antsy about it is because they just A, haven't shown it, and B, we just don't know what the whole infrastructure is like. What is the PlayStation Store like? How the fuck does that work? Like, there was like another rumor there's no like separate whitelisting that you can just start any game and like try it or whatever, and it's just either gonna work or it's not. And most of the time, obviously, it's gonna work because like, you know, the hardware is just designed to do it. So in theory, that sounds cool, but in practice, you just think, okay, if you buy a game in the PlayStation Store, does it not have to like specifically say that it runs fine on your PS5? Like, how the fuck is that gonna work exactly? I guess like, you know, you had situations like fucking Panzer Dragoon Orta on the 360, where you could, I'm pretty sure you could buy it in the store, like in Microsoft's online digital store, and then it just doesn't play beyond level 2 or level 3 in the PAL version, because there was like a critical bug that they actually ended up fixing like fucking just, I don't know, almost 10 years later, because when Panzer Dragoon Orta came to the Xbox One, they also fixed the bug in the 360 emulator. That's fucking nuts that they actually went back and did that, but also it's also nuts that they didn't fix it sooner, like considering that it was perfectly fixable. Anyway, getting off track. Yeah, so that makes me think, okay, I guess they just need to put like a big fucking disclaimer on it, like, we can't guarantee that the game will work on your PS5 or something when they sell on the store. I don't know, it's weird. And like we still haven't even seen the UI, you know? With the Xbox Series X, we haven't seen the UI run on a Series X. We just know it's the same UI as the Xbox One. And that is weird. Well, they actually redesigned the Xbox Store recently, which I think is cool. I like the new store a lot. It's like very, like a lot more polished and like just, fucking, you know, just not as slow and janky and shit as the old store. But I'm just wishing they rolled out the same exact sort of design language to the rest of the system, because the main home screen still looks really bad. Like it still looks very sort of like just the squares with like almost no highlights and drop shadows, and like it just looks so, I don't know, just there's something about it that looks very, very aesthetically like wrong. Whereas the store on the Xbox looks pretty great now. Yeah, I just wish they changed that more comprehensively. But like, I guess like with Xbox, you kind of assume, oh, this whole infrastructure is already there, you know? So that's why you don't really ask questions about it, because they've already proven that it kind of works. Even like, you have to consider like, the Xbox One X just runs every Xbox One game fine, you know? They don't have to, like on PS4 Pro, for example, they needed separate modes to ensure that games don't get fucked up on the Pro, like games that were not optimized for it. On the One X, they never did that, and like the hardware on the One X is also way more different. Like the difference between those models is more significant than it was on the PlayStation. Because like they just designed it in such a way where it just works. So that's why you kind of just naturally have confidence that yeah, on Xbox it's not gonna be a fucking problem at all. PS5 consoles support 8K. Is what it says on fucking Amazon. No game is gonna, like, realistically, no fucking game is gonna run at 8K. I'm sorry, like, it's ridiculous. See, it doesn't mention PlayStation 4 on the Amazon page anywhere. PlayStation 4? Wait a minute. It doesn't say, it doesn't advertise the backwards compatibility at all, dude. That is weird. Well, the page generally, like this whole console launch, I guess this is the important thing we need to talk about, right? This whole console launch feels so rushed and so, like, just everything about it is really weird. Like the way they roll out information is so staggered and awkward and like not comprehensive. There's still so many question marks, right? And fuck, man. And obviously it's because of COVID, right? I feel like none of this, like, I feel like this whole thing would have gone so much smoother without COVID. I don't think the consoles are specifically rushed, right? It's more just like this one thing happened, sort of when they were supposed to roll everything out, and then that threw everything off, right? Because one thing I get hung up on talking to people about this, like, I feel like a lot of people don't really understand that the PS4 and the Xbox One, when those came out, they were very underpowered, right? Obviously the like Gen 6, no, Gen 7, yeah. So the PS3 gen was really long. You might say it was too long. Like the PC outpaced those consoles, or had outpaced it for a very long time. And then it felt like Sony and Microsoft just kind of, you know, they realized, oh shit, this generation is getting very long in the tooth, but also, you know, they never did anything about it because it was so lucrative, right? Like that was a very lucrative generation. And then when it came time to make new consoles, they kind of rushed them a little bit. And that's why That's why you had fucking games on the Xbox One running at 720p at launch. Which, yes, I think caring so much about resolution is like kind of silly, right? Like, it's not something I care about that much. Even though I am a little bit of a tech hat, you know, I do see the difference, right? But I will say, yeah, like, just the fucking severity with how people, like, with the fervor that people argued over this shit with, definitely was ridiculous. At the same time, a fucking console in end of 2013, you know, should run games better. Like, just those consoles definitely were hopelessly outdated, especially the CPUs. That's why, like, that's how you just can tell that people don't understand tech, right? The CPU, and I'm gonna explain this in like very simplistic terms, right? But the CPU is what enables complex calculations, right? And it enables things like AI, fast gameplay, the way the game is like streamed into RAM, you know, into memory, like into like just everything that you're seeing on the screen has to fit into the memory, right? But then also that's not really true anymore because like the SSDs are just so fast. Basically, like if you felt like sort of in terms of game design, the jump between PS3 and PS4 was like not big enough. If you feel like, yeah, the possibilities of what we can do with games were not really expanded enough, that's the reason. You know, that's because the CPUs were just so underpowered. This may shock you to hear, but the PS3's CPU, in terms of just raw kind of power, actually better than the PS4's. You could actually do more complicated calculations, more characters on screen, like this kind of shit, with the PS3 CPU. But obviously the architecture is like complicated to the point where, you know, you can't just keep using that CPU, right? Like from the PS3. I was asked that question, for example, as well. Like when I said, yeah, the CPU from the PS3 actually better than PS4, and then people are like, why didn't they just keep using the same thing? Well, it's like the architecture is just way less streamlined. So now, with this generation, I think what people are underestimating and not really understanding, and like, again, I had like a conversation like that very recently, you know, specifically with people who don't really play video games like that. They're, you know, they were very casually interested in it. Like one guy was like saying, oh, don't they fucking say this every time, you know, that it's like a huge leap or whatever. Well, I mean, this time the leap really is huge. Hang on, I'm gonna get a mouth drop to clear my throat a bit. The leap really is fucking gigantic, right? We haven't seen, like, the hard drives like that are just not widely available, and they're not. It's not something that games are built around at all yet, right? And then the CPU jump is also, like, the CPUs, I'm not saying it's what they should have been 7 years ago. Obviously, that's ridiculous, right? I want, like, I don't want to oversell the CPUs in terms of, like, just like what's currently possible, right? It's nothing too crazy from that regard, but the jump between last gen and this upcoming gen is insane. And that's also why I think so early on already you're seeing so many games skip last gen completely. Which obviously was not really the case, right? Last time, a lot of PS4 games did actually come out on PS3 for like the first two years. MGS5, for example, you would think that's like such an advanced, complicated ass game with so much shit going on. But the reality is just that we just optimized tech to the point where we can do a lot of shit on like very crappy CPUs, right? On pretty crappy hardware. And then MGS5 was just better optimized for the new consoles, you know, just 60 FPS and all that stuff. Breath of the Wild is also one of my favorite examples because, like, they do so much crazy shit in that game, just with the chemistry engine and like just how dynamic and reactive the world is, even though it was designed for the Wii U, right? It's just like hardware really, like consoles dictate what games get made, right? It doesn't matter how fucking powerful your PC is, because in the end, the games you're gonna get on PC are console games. Like, the console is the lowest common denominator, and it just has to run on that. It just has to. And that sounds like, oh, like consoles are holding PCs back. Well, PC Master Race, well, the PC can survive without consoles, and it's not worth building games optimized for PC. You know, it's just not worth it. I'm going through like a lot of, I think, fundamental sort of fucking games industry topics right now, but like, this is just all this shit that people have these huge misconceptions about, and that's why it's interesting for me to talk about. Yeah. Oh well. I probably shouldn't chew on that. But I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. So, I got off track a little bit. So, CPU jump, very big, and that and SSDs and memory. Those are sort of the main things that dictate what you can do in game design, right? And you have to imagine the last 15 years almost, if you really think about it, we kind of worked with the same ceiling, you know? Obviously, better hardware allowed us to do kind of more things, right? But I think a lot of it is just software optimization, like that we just got smarter with the tech that we had. If you look at FF7, if you look at fucking Last of Us, just how many squeeze-throughs those games have to like hide the loading and shit. The fact that that's even still necessary post PS3, right, is kind of absurd, you know? I feel like people, when people say, oh, the next gen jump it's probably not gonna be even that big, right? People don't look at it in context. Like, you really need to like understand just how limited the consoles are, and that's why, like graphically you might not see the difference immediately, but like, you can trust me, it's all the shit that was holding back games for, again, almost 15 years. It's gonna fall away now. It's a huge fucking leap. And like I said, that's, you know, part of the reason, obviously, that MGS5 was like a PS3 game, for example. Obviously, it's because the publishers just didn't have confidence that next-gen consoles would do well. But you have to consider, like, if you can put Resident Evil 8 on the PS4, there's no reason not to do that shit. And in fact, I mean, we got the news like today or yesterday that they're actually exploring that option. Which obviously would be good, right, if more people just got to play games. But yeah, like, obviously in Capcom's best interest, there's no reason not to do it, right? Especially now when the hardware is so, like, the architecture is so streamlined. The optimization necessary would not be as heavy as like it was with PS4 and PS3 and Xbox 360. And then also, I think the market saturation is just better with PS4 and Xbox One. That might sound bizarre because, like, well, actually, it's not even that weird because the PS4 is, like, the best-selling console after the Wii, right? But also, there's just way less of a sense that people are tired of their consoles, right? Of the PS3, like they were back then. I mean, that's why MGS5 sold like ass on PS3 and 360, because people were tired of those consoles, right? So obviously, publishers, they made a mistake there. Whereas now the saturation for PS4, Xbox One, like I said, so much higher. It actually would be worth putting those games on there, I think. But they're not, because the jump is just so massive, like way more massive than it was last time. Even though, again, it doesn't necessarily look like it, and that's why next gen does. Like, I know, again, a lot of people are, because of COVID and because of like how rushed and weird the whole launch is, are not excited. I'm personally very excited. I'm getting pretty hyped for next gen, honestly. Even though, like, the launch right now looks very bad, like, just the games available and stuff. At the same time, it's cool that you get performance boosts with every game that you own, basically. On both systems. Again, PS5 is like, I just want to know concrete fucking info. I mean, I'm selling my PS4 a month in advance. And I hope I'm not making a mistake with that. I'm selling it just because I need the money, right? If I didn't need the money, I would wait. But yeah, I need the cash. Like, I still had, like, I mean, I got my first paycheck in a couple months this month, right? Like 2 weeks ago. And I'm still, like, paying off some bills, you know? Again, from, like I lost my last job in April. Had not received, like, consistent funds since then, and now I'm just paying off shit, and that's why. Even though I got my first paycheck now, I'm very happy, and, like, a lot of the pressure is gone now. Still need money, still gotta sell that PS4. And that'd be fucking annoying if I couldn't play fucking Wonderful 101 on my PS5 that I already pre-ordered. I mean, I pre-ordered it, like, not, like, it's weird because, I guess I can transition to that topic now. I was just, like, after the Sony thing that I streamed live as well. You can watch that maybe for some of my thoughts as well. The thing should be on YouTube. I was just, like, hanging out on Amazon. You do, just hang out on Amazon. I was just browsing Amazon, and I just saw the console. Well, that was the thing. I typed into search, couldn't find it. I was like, huh, that's weird. And then I just checked some websites, and they had the link for it. And then I saw it was available. I was like, oh, fuck, I'll just pre-order it to, like, just in case, right? Just in case I want it, just in case that I won't get another console anywhere else. Initially I was, like, hoping, oh, maybe there's, like, a trade-in deal, I can trade in my PS4 and then just get the PS5 cheaper. That's sort of, I was planning to wait for that, but then because I saw the console just there, I just did it, and, like, it was not hectic at all, it just kind of worked really smoothly. And then 30 minutes later, I think it was sold out. And my brother, for example, he didn't get one. Fucking loser. It's like karma because he has a PS4 Pro, and I just have my Rinky fucking launch PS4. So it's karma that now I'm getting the PS5. Huh? Fuck you. Yeah. And now I'm gonna keep the pre-order, right? I do want the console now that I know, okay, they're probably gonna be a little bit hard to get. And I've been planning to get the PS5 for a while over the Xbox, and, like, just in general, because of the backwards compatibility, because I only have the launch PS4, right? There's a bunch of games where I would really appreciate the performance improvements. Oh, you know what I just remembered? fucking, I got Dragon Quest Builders 2 on the PS4, and it runs at 60 FPS. It's really cool, but it didn't actually finish it. I didn't even get that far. I finished like the first major thing. I'm playing kind of the same way that I played the original, where I just play it very slowly. I haven't touched it in a while, and now I'm thinking, fuck. The frame rate was like unlocked on the Switch, right? So if they do a Switch Pro, and you just like I get Builders 2 again and I play on there, wouldn't that be fucking hot? Then I could play like on the go and it's 60 FPS. Woo. I'd fucking get a Switch Pro like ASAP. There's so many fucking games that would benefit from it. Also, Monster Hunter looks great, and Monster Hunter Rise looks great, but also made me think, I wish I didn't have to play it on the Switch. I wish I could play it on a console where it runs at 60 FPS, yeah. Yeah, I hope 60 FPS generally is like, you can just never know. I think people are like, oh, every game needs to be 60 FPS. It's like, you just can't guarantee that, right? Just depending on what the game does. I do think we are already seeing like a lot of games committing to 60 FPS. Like, fucking even Assassin's Creed, right? Which is weird. Like, Assassin's Creed, not really known as a 60 FPS on console franchise. So that's cool that they're already committing to that so early. And then DMC5 SE is like 120 FPS. That's fucking cool. So, like I said, with the PS4, I have a bunch of games that would really benefit from a performance boost. Even just like the boost that you got with the Pro, right? And I never had a Pro, and like Wonderful 101 is like the biggest one that I can think about, where base PS4 performance is just so bad. And I have that version already, and I have it on PC as well, and I have it on the Switch because I'm fucking lunatic. And I stopped playing it on PC because just the PC port is so broken and shit, and I hate it. And now I'm buying a PS5 so I can play the Wonderful 101 on. And yeah, with the Xbox, conversely, I just don't benefit from it yet because I already have the X, and there's no game on the X where I feel like, yeah, this could run better. Like, the X already maxes out every game, basically. Yeah. I might even, I'm, considering selling Doom Eternal and then just rebuying it on PS4 and then playing it on PS5. If that whole thing works. I'm definitely going to sell it because Game Pass, it's coming out on Game Pass. But yeah, Xbox, that's why, you know, just, considering that both, well, no. The launch for the PS5 is definitely a little bit better than Xbox, right? But both launches generally pretty underwhelming in terms of games available, right? So really, the main reason you're buying one right now is to upgrade your current library that you already have, depending on how comprehensive the backwards compatibility is going to be. And for me, obviously, just from that perspective, I think you can see why PS5 for me just is way more worth it. Because the upgrade for PS4 games is just going to be way more massive, right? That's the thing. I think the Series X is definitely more targeting. Well, actually, no. The Series S is definitely for people who don't own an Xbox at all. The X is definitely, I think, for people who are already pretty invested in the Xbox ecosystem. But it's just I think without Halo, which was delayed, right? The proposition has become a lot less attractive. Because, yeah, there's, I cannot think of a single game on the X that would really benefit from the Series X, you know? On the One X. Doom Eternal has, a couple of drops, but, obviously those would get cleaned up, but, is that worth, a fucking $500 machine? I don't think so. And, there's no... I cannot think of any game. Every game you play on the X is just so well optimized, they just run perfectly, you know? Are there even any... What are the Series X launch titles? Wait a minute. Series X launch titles. I mean, obviously there's like a couple multi-platform games, I guess. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Fortnite. Fortnite doesn't count. That game already exists. NBA 2K21, Dirt 5, I think Bright Memory is like a genuine exclusive. Kind of like a gritty first-person version of Devil May Cry, sure. Tetris Effect, Observer. Wait, that's already an old game, right? Yeah. The Falconeer. Like, oh, this is sad. I mean, Yakuza Like a Dragon is also gonna be on PS5. Actually, we don't know that yet. If it's gonna be on PS5, it's gonna be on PS4. But yeah, that's the thing. If it's not on PS5 at launch, I might get it for the Xbox One X instead. Because obviously, if it's not on PS5, it's not really gonna support like just all the fucking features. Oh, Akiyama looks a lot better. Whoa, Saijima's also in this game? What the fuck? I didn't know. I've been kind of a media blackout for this game. So this is like really surprising me to like just see all the fucking characters. Whoa, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah. So Series X, gotta be honest, I have no idea why the fuck you would buy it right now. If I think about it, like, I guess like, yeah, if you just want multi-platform games. Yeah. But like you could, that's, I mean, my approach right now is like, yeah, I'm just gonna play the multi-platform games on the PS5, you know, and they're not gonna be that much worse, probably. Obviously the Series X definitely has a significant GPU advantage. And there was a story that Resident Evil 8 is actually struggling a little bit on the PS5, performance-wise. I'm pretty sure they're gonna clean that up, but that is concerning, right? That long-term, maybe the GPU on the PS5 is a little bit of a bottleneck and like a little bit underpowered. But obviously, I mean, the GPU is like the thing that you can, like I already said, like I tried to explain already, it's like the thing that you can kind of forget about the most in terms of game design. It's not really gonna hold the game design back. And I do think you have to just really think it's fucking impressive that they're shoving like all these crazy new advanced features on top of ray tracing in a box that's 500, like both with the Xbox and the PS5. I mean, the Xbox's hard drive is very fast as well. Nothing is as fast as the PS5 right now, like that's crazy. But obviously the only thing that's really gonna take advantage of it is first party games, right? Because obviously multi-platform games, they have to be optimized around the Xbox One, Xbox Series X. Whoops. Maybe those names not that great, right? Maybe they could have thought about it maybe like 30 minutes longer. Yeah. I guess I also think the sales proposition of the Series S is very interesting, that you can basically get next gen shit at such a like budget price. I think that's very cool. Just letting more people experience next gen, I'm all about that. And I mean, that's why I do, for example, hope that Capcom actually do manage to get Resident Evil 8 onto last gen, because clearly they did design it for next gen, right? And then if they just port it down, obviously that's a net win for everybody, right? They didn't have to scale down their vision for the real game for the next gen version. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it if you're gonna do it. Like that's the thing. I think if had Halo been there for launch, it would have just been so much better. Like the choice between the two consoles would have actually been kind of significant. Obviously for me, not as much, because I could have just played it on the Xbox One X. But then even like Halo, for example, really appealed to me, the demo that I saw, or that we saw. It's exactly what I wanted out of Infinite, sort of just in terms of the concept and like the vibe and just the dynamic combat. But I do think the game would really benefit from ray tracing. Digital Foundry made a really interesting video sort of explaining it. And like I feel like that alone might have fucking pushed me to get a Series X over the PS5. But now that's not there anymore. It's like, okay. And then even then, I might still just play it on the One X, And yeah, just like when the consoles are so similar, and like one kind of has exclusives a little bit, and also gives my existing games a big performance boost. Whereas the Series X just does neither of those things for me. For me, it was a very easy choice. And I mean, I'm gonna probably get that Demon's Souls remake sort of out of desperation. I do genuinely think the Demon's Souls remake looks a lot better than the Shadow remake, and that's why I'm still willing to try it. I think it looks a lot better than the first trailer as well. Like I saw some interesting things in it, right? I like that I pointed this out in the live stream, but like the enemies sort of they twist their faces in pain when you hit them and stuff. There's a lot of nice little details. I do think the game, it looks very busy, very extra, I guess. Matthew Matoas on Twitter pointed out that like the original just had this like the Boltarian Palace, specifically the first level that you go to, had this very utilitarian look to it. No needless decorations or whatever. And now the remix is just filled with stuff, and it just doesn't feel the same, in general, like, I mean, there were like a couple shots where I was like, I think this is not a bad take on it. Again, I think it's like one of the things that bothered me the most about it, I think, is just the armor design, like that they changed some of the some of the armor pieces. The original, like the normal regular fucking knight in Demon's Souls, such an iconic fucking design, and they tweaked it ever so slightly to make it just look very generic, and not a fan of that. But yeah, you know what, Demon's Souls, 60 FPS, active online community, like blah, I think it's worth giving it a shot, Again, like I said, I'm way more open to playing it than I used to be. I used to be very against it. I still think, like, I still cannot get over the fucking moon that they slapped behind the Dragon God in the intro. That is so disgusting. Fuck, man. But still, it looks a lot better than the Shadow of the Colossus remake. I'm willing to give Bluepoint a chance. And I do think, like, just in terms of next-gen graphics, like graphics tech, it does look crazy. Like, it does look very insanely fucking detailed, like with the lighting and all this shit. I'm listening back to this like a day later and sort of realizing I forgot to mention a couple of things, so I'm gonna add them here, or like in the respective places where it matters. I guess like going into more detail with the Demon's Souls remake. Specifically, like, I was surprised how faithful the art direction was in a couple places. Like, I think when you in the tutorial level, when you leap off the bridge and you land on the in this like grassy kind of area with all the trees, like there was a nice amount of bloom, and like the color palette was pretty similar. I think, oh yeah, so I talk about this a little bit in the aesthetics video that I'm uploading at the same time as this, so you can check that out. But I think just Shadow of the Colossus had so much shit in it, the remake, where it was just technically not well done, even compared to the original, which is like the facial animations and like some of the modeling was really off. And here, that just does not look to be the case. Here, it looks a lot better and like a lot more comparable to the original. Like just, again, like I mentioned with the enemies, like their faces look very convincing. And that's why, yeah, with Shadow of the Colossus, like every single screen in that game, just something about it pulled me out of the experience. There was always at least one thing that turned me off. Whereas here, obviously, they take some liberties with the art direction. Like Shrine of Storms, I think is a good example where they added all this crazy rain and like the lightning bolt and all this shit. But like to me, that's like interesting additions where they actually like thought about it a little bit rather than, oh, let's just make the fucking sky super dark, even though that was not like the intent of the original at all. Yeah. So just like cohesively as its own thing, this Demon's Souls remake, I think, just looks satisfactory, you know. And there are, I mean, like I said, like the thing with the Dragon God and just generally a couple shots, I still hate those. But then at the same time, there were a bunch of other shots that really impressed me. And like, I mean, you can see my reaction in the live stream as well. That I was like, I saw a tower flashing, I was like, ooh, that's pretty cool. So like, as a fan of the game, you know, I played it when it came. Like, it was the first game I ever imported, sort of outside of Europe, and yeah, obviously it has a very special place in my heart. And I think I'm having, like, with some of the shots that they showed, I'm having a similar effect that people usually do when they see a remake of one of their favorite games, you know, where they're like, oh, this is like kind of like I remember, but like, oh, different, and different in a good way. So yeah, the more I'm seeing of this remake, the more I'm positive on it, even though, again, I think it kind of sucks that the original is like not really being preserved, right? I do think there should just be a straight port of the original, you know, on top of the remake. But whatever, I'm fine with it. I'm probably gonna play it. Gonna talk more about whether I'm gonna play it in a little bit, but yeah, you're gonna see that. Is there anything else I want to say about Demon's Souls? Yeah, no, I think that's it. Okay. Back to the, you know, the rest of the video. So yeah, that's cool. Probably if it's 80, no, I'm not. If it's 80 euro, I'm not gonna get it. 80 euro. Like, you are kidding yourself if you think I'm paying 80 euro for a fucking video game. Unless it's Devil May Cry 6. Might get that Spider-Man. I still think the whole situation with the remaster is fucking bull ass. And yet, like, when I think about it, like, yeah, like, I do. That's the thing. Maybe if Miles is not that cool, I'm gonna regret not having bought the remaster with it, you know? Because I'm gonna be like, fuck, I do want to play this game again, but like with ray tracing and 60 FPS and all this crazy shit. Yeah, man, like, fuck. Again, like I already pointed out a little bit, like, so many games have 60 FPS modes already confirmed where you wouldn't really expect it, right? Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed. Like, oh, dude, I'd be so hyped to play Spider-Man at 60 FPS again. Fuck, that is a big deal. That makes a huge difference for me. I thought the trailer for Miles Morales, the gameplay demo, looked kind of whatever for Miles Morales. Like, but I do also think like the early stuff for Spider-Man that they showed for the original game, for the main game, was not really that representative either. So, it's probably gonna be fine. Like the combat is not like when you actually play it. Anyone who's played it knows like it's not as like cinematic scripted BS as it looks in like in demos. So yeah, I really like Spider-Man. I'd be excited to play again, like just a new story. Just hope it's substantial, you know, just hope it's substantial to like justify its existence. That's the thing, like, I don't mind paying 50 for it if it's good. You know, if it's just good, then why wouldn't I pay 50 for it? If it like feels like a 50 euro game. Though, I guess it's worth saying, it's also available on the PS4, and there it's 40. And like that, like, guys, what? And like, I think Uncharted Lost Legacy was also 40, right? And I think that feels worth that, like, I mean, I hate thinking about prices in games, like, just, oh, how much is this game worth? I think that's stupid. it's, I guess for me, it's more like I want to play it and feel like, yeah, that was a good experience. I think I'm glad that they made this, you know? I'm glad it's not just a filler title for next gen. And like, just the fact that this demo that they showed had like unique set pieces already, I guess shows that it's like a little more substantial than it might first seem. What else is there? Oh, DMC5 SE, obviously. That is the big one, right? Other than just playing PS4 games on it, like Wonderful 101. DMC5 SE, absolutely fucking the reason I need an next-gen console right the fuck now. Holy goddamn shit. Just like turbo mode and 120 FPS. That's already two of my biggest issues like with the game fixed. Just, you know, lack of a turbo mode, and then also I want less input lag. I'm gonna be buying a new TV with 120 FPS support, like hopefully a month after the PS5 comes out, and then I'm gonna play it that way, and it's gonna be fucking amazing. I hope in general, like, input lag is gonna be less of an issue on the new consoles. Our DMC5 specifically is, I swear to God, the first Xbox demo that they released looked a lot worse than the final game. Like, they added a lot of sort of post-processing in the meantime. I'm pretty sure that is the case. But also, the first demo felt way less laggy. Like, the input response felt a lot better in that first Xbox demo. And then they just added a bunch of shit, and then now it's, like, a lot slower. And, like, that's why when I play DMC5 now, I'm like, obviously, Kino still, but, especially on PC, like, just something about it feels a little bit off. And I think I hear that the PS4 version was the best in terms of, like, input lag. So yeah, I'm hoping just the consoles in general. I know on Xbox, it's a huge priority, right? They, like, talked about a lot that they have, like, this weird fucking system in place to reduce input lag as much as possible, which I think is cool. I hope the PS5 kind of matches that. The PS4 was a very laggy console in general. Like, obviously on a game-by-game basis, there were a bunch of games that do perform very fast. But generally, like, there was like some amount of inherent controller lag. Or like, just like something about the system and the way it pulls or the UI, I'm not sure, but like Mega Man 11, I think, for example, has an extra frame of lag on the PS5 and the PS4 compared to the other systems, and that's just weird. Yeah. But they're just, even if DMC5 SE isn't specifically optimized for better lag, right? Obviously, it's still gonna be cut in half just by the 120 FPS mode already. So that's very good. Yeah. I'm fucking excited. Don't give a fuck about Virgil. Don't have me. Again, like, people who care this much about Virgil don't actually play DMC. That's just a fact. Yeah. I'm just fucking excited to see what these consoles are gonna do. Again, I hope I've stressed enough that the leap is huge. Just like the leap in terms of what's gonna be possible in game design is fucking insane. And that really excites me. And I feel like we still just haven't really seen it yet. And that's why people don't really, like, a lot of the stuff is gonna be way more subtle, you know, than graphics. That's why, just like people who don't make games looking at the Ratchet demo and saying, oh, this, like, I don't see what's, like, new about this. It's so insanely frustrating, right? Especially, like, when you just know that people don't understand this shit. They don't understand tech, and they don't understand what they're talking about. And, like, I think it's fair to think that Ratchet looks lame, you know? I think that's totally fine. But saying it's the same shit, and it's, like, it's nothing new or whatever, it's just so ignorant. Because, like, genuinely, the fact that you can switch between so many different modes of gameplay so quickly, that was not possible before. Like, genuinely was not possible. And we're only gonna see more of that as the generation goes on. I'm very confident in that. I wonder if, like I said, with the PS5 already, GPU maybe a little bit underpowered. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, that raises a question if a refresh is going to be necessary again, you know, like with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. Like, I guess I hope not. I hope it's not necessary. But also, obviously, you don't want them sitting on shitty hardware for like too long, you know. We'll see. I guess just the fact that we see so many games already have so many different performance modes, and like again, so many games shooting for 60 FPS. That's amazing. That's great. I really like that a lot. Yeah. Is there anything else I forgot to talk about? Am I gonna get an Xbox eventually? I don't know. Like, if they're like, that's the thing. If I'm that unsatisfied with PS5 performance, well, oh yeah, the Bethesda acquisition. Oh my god, I didn't even talk about that. Revealing that acquisition right on the cusp of like the pre-orders going live. Fucking god move. Fucking god flex. Like, I mean, if the next Doom is an Xbox exclusive, I guess I'll, like, exclusive to the Series X, right? Not the Xbox One. If it's exclusive to the Series X, I guess I'll get a Series X. Yeah, like, that's reason enough for me to get one. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, I would get one for sure if there's like a significant exclusive. Like, no doubt about it. Though actually, you know what? I might even get like a Series S, you know? Like, just with Game Pass. Like, the Series S, I think, actually, when you think about it, it actually complements the One X surprisingly well. You can just keep your One X for like backwards compatibility, and then get the Series S for like the few exclusives. You know? That's actually kind of smart when I think about it now. Like, you can, yeah, you can still take advantage of it, like with Game Pass, and then all your disc games just go into One X probably. That's kind of cool, right? And then you save like $200. Not bad. Then again, I mean, it might just make more sense to just get a Series X, replace the One X, and just don't worry about it anymore. Interesting. We definitely have an interesting generation ahead. I think this one's gonna be a lot more. I really did not like this generation, honestly, when I think about it now, like, retrospectively. Obviously, a lot of great games. But yeah, I think just a lot of stagnation as well, and like, fuck man, like, it's weird to me how much people hate on Gen 7. I don't get it. I thought Gen 7 was so much fucking better. And I feel like there was just generally so many more ambitious like games that felt like a big deal. That have like really penetrated the zeitgeist as well. Whereas like, yeah, with this gen, it's like we had Breath of the Wild. That's it. And like it runs on a tablet. Like, Breath of the Wild is the one game that feels like a super fucking new thing, and like, whoa, and like that game feels next gen. I also think we just have more diversity because the Wii was so radically different from the other systems. Yeah, fuck man, Gen 7 is like legit underappreciated. Especially like Gen 7, like there were so many new things with Gen 7, like constant internet access, indie games, right, which was not really possible for because you had to be on the store shelf. So it just opened up a completely new market. Like this current generation that we're in, it feels like an extension of the last. And yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm confident that this upcoming generation is gonna be a lot fresher, and like it's gonna be a way bigger leap as well. And just games are not gonna be held back as much anymore by the tech. That's very exciting to me. Alright, tacking on another thing here, I realized I never really talked about like the possibility of switching to PC, because like I kind of realized, oh, inevitably someone's gonna ask, why didn't you just get a PC? Why you buy? Like I said earlier, for example, that I would get like a Series X if Doom was exclusive, and then obviously the inevitable response people would levy against me is like, why didn't you just get a PC? Just get a PC, man. And fuck PCs. I see all my friends getting into PC now, and like obviously that's totally fair, right? If that's your choice, if that's what you want to do, I think that's cool. But I do also think a lot of people are doing it out of this like very knee-jerk negative reaction they're having to the consoles because of the rushed relatively launch, when they're not actually looking at it in context and like what the consoles are actually doing, because what the consoles are actually doing is really impressive. And I think now is a really bad time to build a PC. Like, I think last gen that was not as much the case because obviously the consoles were so underpowered. Now it's gonna take a little bit for PCs like to widely catch up with consoles, I think, especially with the hard drives. And like logistically, Resident Evil 8 is gonna be really curious, right? Because I'm not sure if I mentioned this already in this recording, but like it's gonna be on PC. I'm just like thinking logistically, okay, how do they make PC players upgrade to hard drives if they're required, like to those kinds of SSDs, like those M2 whatever next gen SSDs. That's just something that you wouldn't really expect to have to do on PC usually, right? And then obviously, like, you have to consider a game like Halo Infinite, for example. They delayed it, right? Probably with the intention of like making ray tracing a bigger deal, right? So that the visuals end up looking a little more cohesive. And that's cool. But then if the visuals kind of hinge on ray tracing, how do you sort of sell that on PC where some players don't necessarily have it, right? Like, you can have ray tracing as a standard feature of consoles now, whereas on PC it's just kind of like super dependent on your hardware. So I think upgrading your PC right now is gonna be a fucking pain in the ass. And I think if you build one recently, you're gonna have to tack on more shit. Like, I'm fairly certain. It's definitely not gonna last you that much longer. Like, if you want to play next gen games on it. Again, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but like it really does seem that way. And I think there's fair reasons to play on PC. Not saying that's like a bad choice, in general. It's just like I do still think it's a little bit short-sighted, right? Like I think people are making that choice without really considering the repercussions. And then yeah, my personal take is I just don't want to fucking deal with PCs. I recently had this like thing where Halo 2, they had a recent update on the Master Chief Collection where it runs really bad now on the Xbox One X specifically. Like, I don't remember the game running this bad when I first played it, right? And I was like, fuck this. I have it on Game Pass. I can just play on PC, right? And then I wanted to install it to my external. Like, I have this huge fucking 8 terabyte hard drive, I think, where I put all my games and like just other shit. And the Windows Store just wouldn't let me. And this whole experience just reminded me how much I fucking hate PCs. Just like, as convoluted and annoying updates can get on consoles, right? They're still easier than PCs. You still have way fucking fewer problems than on PC. I just feel like PC, in my experience, is never like nothing but grief, you know? And like I have a like right now I'm recording this on a laptop, gaming laptop. That's decently powerful, right? I can play the MC5 on it just fine. And like just in a day-to-day use, it's great, right? Well, I still like obviously Windows is a fucking piece of shit, and so you know, going off from that, obviously, yeah, whenever I try to play games on it, it's just such a there's just so many little things, especially with newer games, right? I feel like with older games, you just run into way less problems. Well, even then, that's not really true sometimes, but I don't know. Just like the streamlined nature of consoles that will always appeal to me. It doesn't matter. It's never good for me. It's never gonna matter that every Xbox game is on PC. I will just always prefer to play on Xbox. Obviously, you might say, oh well, Halo 2 runs bad, so you're forced to play on PC now. Yeah, I guess you got me there. I guess you got me there. Yeah, so I don't want to say PCs are corny. But the way it's like trendy now to shit on consoles, I think is like super short-sighted. So yeah, I guess that's my take on that. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. What your thoughts are on next gen. Like, are you getting a next gen console? Which one are you getting? Yeah, dude. Let me know if I'm an idiot. If I got some like tech stuff wrong, right? Let me know if maybe did I blow your mind with some of the revelations in here. Yeah, this was a fun video to make. Yeah, see you next month.